May I go? Will I wait? Am I early? Am I late?
Time. Pi.
Here I'm standing at a magnetic point next to River Rhine, and I tell about my nearness to it. I show the way to my friend's studio by pointing the route from my home. Everything with my musical career happened here in Düsseldorf, and of course my amateur bands. The Beethovens, the Anyway, the Fruit, and later on the Spirits of Sound.
Das sind ungefähr so 15, 16 Kilometer hin, 15, 16 Kilometer zurück. Das mache ich dann jeden Tag. Aber abgesehen davon ist natürlich hier diese Stadt sehr verbunden mit meiner ganzen Jugend und mit meinen Amateurbands, die ich hier hatte. Die Beethovens, die Fruit, die Liberty und später die Spirits of Sound. Alles ist hier in Düsseldorf.
I'm telling about my pleasure of acting and music making, which in fact started much earlier. My grandmother often read very exciting fairy tales to my brothers and me in the evening. This has built up my fantasy as well as the excursions into nature which we enjoyed so much. My father took photos very often and made short home movies of us. We discovered that acting and dressing up was most fun. Once a cupboard was pulled down in a dramatic action. During our parents' parties, the music played included the cha-cha-cha, mambo or rumba. I still have these happy rhythms in my ears. In the showrooms, there was not so much for little children in that time. Anyway, we loved to develop everything of our own. Birthday was only Fridays. We were very loud and always enjoyed splashing. We pretended that we were like actors in a movie.
Digital showers. Stretching hours.
My mother was full of life and vivacious. I have inherited these from her, but coldness was never my thing. During my school holidays, I worked in a factory. With the money I earned, I purchased my very first drum kit and founded the Beethovens. I believe that we were the best Beatles cover band in my local area. We even made a tour of the Baltic Sea with our own tour bus. My older brother had to drive it because none of us musicians had a driver's license. We played support to The Who and smoked cigarettes like crazy. With Fruit we continued to develop, and Harakiri Voom was our biggest competition. With the Spirits of Sound we began to write our own songs. In 1969 we performed on the legendary Teenage Fair. It was the high time of the hippies and the twiggy fashion. Drumming was all my life. However, with the Spirits of Sound, it was the end of my amateur days. During this time, Kraftwerk asked our group member Michael Rother to join them. Later on, they also invited me into their studio and band. I also changed my home and moved into their private address. Here I'm standing in front of the Berger Allee number 9, where I lived with Kraftwerk since 1972. I'm talking about our living and working together, and that I had no idea what was developing out of it. But even 2 years later we were on Broadway. Who could believe that? When we arrived in New York, I realized that my life would be of public interest in the future. To be so fast on Broadway was unbelievable for Ralph, Florian, Karl and me.
me on my cozy bed.
Our synthetic sound plus 4 colored neon lights made this possible in a professional world stuffed with sweating guitar bands.
All I want is a little sleep.
Now we made record after record and music films when there was no special music television at all. Traveling and our music of the Trans-Europe Express are still my favorite from my time with Kraftwerk. Long-distance journeys by bus from town to town were not to everyone's delight. But thank God we had our nice bicycles. We could cruise through the air so freely. This was much more our thing. To act on this modern stage and to play with the electric drums that I had built was the greatest pleasure for me every time. Nevertheless, I left the robot band in the end of the 80s in order to develop more humanly and to discover something new in my profession. It should become a rather exciting journey.
Is once again the subject of a benefit single, this time from former Kraftwerk member Wolfgang Fleur, collaborating with artist Emil Schult. Proceeds from the song Little Child, released under the name of Yamo, will go to a special children's home in Saxony, which is caring for 42 orphans from the war-torn region. Fleur and Schult launched the single at Germany's music fair, the Popcom, with live art and a message.
Our idea was that at this moment in Europe, everything is too loud and too colorful. And we as artists just trying to make a sign. We're trying to calm it down a little bit and make it look sad. We want you to join us, please, in a minute of silence in remembrance of the victims of the war, the children and women who are dying in Yugoslavia and elsewhere in the world where we have conflicts which are not in balance with all these loud and beautiful things which are going on.
In the end of the last year, when I was seeing always these incredible scenes in the TV and in the news like this, maybe I brought some with you, what you can always buy in the newsstand, you know. And I thought, we don't want to see this anymore. I couldn't stand it anymore. That was the last point of me, and I'm a musician. What else could I do? So I made a song for the victims of this war.
Cry, spears, shouts and tears, little children's blood will shed. All the night you can sleep a bit, and we don't know why you did it. To the shelter you must run. Time stands still for everyone.
It's one country in our union of European countries. It's in the middle and it's burning, and we all are in our Mercedes-Bewusstsein, you know. And so nobody is really looking over the wall.
Yamo is now my new project. It grew up with very talented artists and it will be developed more and more. The album Time Pie and the single Stereomatic are new Rheinland-Spezialitäten, which I have recorded with my friends. Andi Thoma, Jan Werner, Donna Regina, Michael Grund, and my niece Janine. We all had lots of fun at work. I introduced myself as a musical fairy storyteller. Once again, I am on the wheels to catch new secret information. Here at my desk I develop and work on my stories, lyrics and rhymes with my love and care. Later on, these are then recorded at Andy's studio. You have changed into a speech dancer, my friends have recently told me. I could only take it as a compliment and made it into a title for my new album. A guiding ray was shining down on our work from the very beginning.
He's the one to be faithful and true. Dr. the Ugly is dealing with you, promising healing from daily fears. Consulting the doctor, drops against tears.
Here you see me in front of our famous drum set patchboard that I built together with Florian in 1973. I explained that we had to develop it on our own because there was nothing like it to buy in the music shops in those days. We had the idea to use metal plates with small metal sticks on wires connected to a primitive beatbox from a dancehall music solo entertainer. It had only rhythms like bossa nova, beat, rumba or cha-cha-cha already built inside of it, but we wanted to use the tones one by one to play our own special Kraftwerk rhythms. So we had only 6 sounds on it, like bim, boom, zack, or boim, boom, chak. Again, it works like we also have used it in our Stereomatic song.
Beautiful sound is in the air. A stereomatic love affair. Dancing tones to alternate. It's a marriage of left and right. Pleasure